And welcome back to Open Line. If you are just tuning in, we are right in the middle of the show. This is Ask an Expert. We are talking to attorney Kevin Kennedy. He's got great advice, always has great advice. Every time Kevin is on, our phones just light up like crazy. Our phones have been nonstop, and it's a great way to get those questions answered that you have regarding any type of legal advice that you need.
Well, you know, the truth is, if you have all this and you want to share it, you want to help people, and really that's just been my nature all these years. You know, we have on the front of our law firm, we're committed to helping people. The truth is, if I weren't a lawyer, I still want to try to help people. And I encourage and challenge the viewing audience to do the same. It will make a difference in our community.
It absolutely does. So we do appreciate, like I said, all of our callers this evening. We want to get right back to the lines right now. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate you being on the line with us. Right now we are going to Beverly. Beverly, good evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is concerning child support. My daughter can't afford an attorney, and my granddaughter's father remarried. He lives in Indiana. His wife carried the insurance on my granddaughter.
Yep.
And now they're separated, so my granddaughter has no insurance. So the child support office won't help my daughter out, won't give her any information. And my granddaughter has special needs and needs physical therapy and occupational and speech therapies. And she's had to be pulled out of those because of no insurance.
Wow.
And my daughter doesn't even know any of the father's information. And child support office won't even help her out with that. Won't give her the information or help her get that. What would you suggest she do?
Well, if you had one of the clerks there that was working on that case, the child support office, I would ask for a supervisor, and then I would just keep going up the chain. The state of Tennessee is under the obligation to assist people in that circumstance. That's why we have a child support division with the state of Tennessee. So your daughter's entitled to it, the granddaughter's entitled to it, and I would just keep pursuing it. One of the other things, if you can't get anything done, you can always go to a private lawyer. They have what's now these people searches, and some of the law firms, like my law firm, has a very, very sophisticated, it costs money, costs big money to keep this program alive. But, you know, for a certain amount, they can find him and get whatever information to locate if he's on the run. And so that would be my suggestion. First, go to a supervisor and go up, and you may even try a different day. And there may not, sometimes you could get a caseworker that may show lack of interest in your particular case, but that's not the end of the story.
So that's what you got to do, is just keep on.
Keep on.
Yeah, that is. Beverly, I hope that helps, and do have a good evening. We're going back to the line. Steve is on the line with us. We appreciate your patience, Steve, and we're glad that you're with us this evening. Do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
I have a question. First, what is your telephone number at your law office?
Yeah, they have it on the screen at the end. It's 931-645-9900.
9900. Okay, thank you. Okay, question I have is, back in '92, my brother, who's no longer alive at the time, he was diagnosed with AIDS, and he used to smoke marijuana in order to eat. Well, he had sold marijuana to an undercover cop.
Okay.
And they came into the house. I never had no dealing with it, and our other roommate never had no dealing with it. But he had sold the marijuana to the undercover cop. We got in the car with him and was getting ready to go to Towers Records down on the West End, and we got pulled over and busted.
All right.
Well, when we went to court, one of the lawyer that was representing my brother is now a criminal court judge.
Okay.
So my question is, one, how long do they keep transcripts in the court? And second, the judge, the reason I'm asking that is because the judge told me and the roommate, since we had no dealing with it, he said if we stayed out of trouble for 1129, it would be reduced to a misdemeanor. I thought it was automatic until I did a background check about 2 years ago on myself, and it's still on there as a felony.
Wow.
What do I do about that?
Well, first off, I would, if you ever get in trouble, you need to have your own lawyer. You know, the interesting thing, okay, it wasn't your marijuana, y'all are in the car, you get pulled over, you know what the police are going to do? They're going to charge everybody. So be careful who your associates are. Be careful when you go in to get into a car. If you suspect a problem, then throw on the brakes and don't get in. Number two, if you're getting caught in a situation, everybody get their own lawyer, because many times your lawyer can go and say, look, I wasn't a part of this. You can't prove any of this on my man. Dismissal, and you get it dismissed right there at the front end, and you don't have this problem. And, you know, when you've got all kinds of misunderstandings, who was representing you? Did you plead guilty? Did they just find you guilty? There's a host of questions. And was it a pre-trial diversion or a post-trial diversion? You need to find out that. So you may have to hire a lawyer to look at the record, and if it's in there, there's still records of it, and then perhaps file to have it expunged. If you've done everything that needs to be done, maybe it can be expunged. And what that really means is erased. But everybody's case is different.
That's why each person needs to get their own lawyer.
Get their own lawyer. And you know, here's the real world. If we're all in this and they came in and hit something in here right now, my lawyer say, wait a minute, we didn't have anything to do with it. It was all on Chuck. And I already know what Chuck's lawyer is going to say. Chuck's lawyer is going to say, hey, Chuck is innocent. It's all on Kevin. And so we already understand and see the guy over here that has no lawyer, who is talking for him.
Yeah, so get your own lawyer, Steve. Glad that you called this evening. We're going back to the lines right now. Jeff is on the line with us. Jeff, we're glad that you called this evening. And do you have a question or a comment for Kevin?
Question.
All righty.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all, I'd like to say thanks, guys, for what y'all do.
Thank you.
And my question, it concerns my mom, is who it is. She had an IVC filter implanted, and she's having issues with it that have been on record apparently since this last July when her PCP got the report. The last 3 months, she's been having trouble in her groin area, hurting really bad, massive pain.
Yes.
She got back in touch with the attorney's office from TV, one of the ones that's handling the IVC class action stuff.
Yes, sir.
And their radiologist found it, said it was very pronounced. There's 3 of those little arms that have actually punctured the artery and are protruding. Her PCP has told her for the last 3 months, can't find anything. I guess bottom line that we need to go to an outside attorney, go with the class action thing through this attorney that she's dealing with now from TV, and what as far as malpractice against her PCP?
Well, first off, that could be a products liability action. You need to see if you've already signed a contract with those lawyers on the TV and find out what did they guarantee that they were going to do for you and what is the status of that. You know, you can get them on a speakerphone and talk to them and have other family members and then just ask the normal questions. Who, what, where, when, and how. Okay, who's responsible? What are y'all going to do? When are we going to be able to see something? And ask those questions. And if they don't give you the right answers, you say, well, can we just get out and go pursue another lawyer? But you got to be very sensitive. Did they file this action or has the statute run? So those are some questions you need to ask. And remember those simple questions. Anybody can ask those and you get a good understanding.
Okay, good to know. All right, we are going to the lines right now. Back to the lines. So Reverend Fuzz is on the line with us this evening.
Reverend, good to talk to you.
Hey, Kevin, and y'all listen. I got a scenario I got this morning.
Okay.
A lady called me, and the same thing happened a couple years ago. This is about guns, okay?
All right.
About pulling your gun out. A couple years ago, some guys were chasing her to a car, and she pulled her gun to get them away. Well, they pressed charges, and she lost her job, and it was called some kind of felony. Okay, well, this morning, the lady called and says a guy comes to the job and asks for him and says, you stay away from my girlfriend, and takes his gun and shoots 6 times in the air. When they pressed charges, the DA told them that there wasn't probable cause on that case. I'd just like to know, what's it about? How do you, what trouble? You're using your gun out there. Is there a law? I can't pull my gun out. And is that more serious than if I pull my gun out and shoot somebody?
Well,
that's what it looked like.
Yes, Pastor, thank you as always, Colin. We appreciate all the pastors that run interference to try to help people because they have nowhere else to turn. But to the pastors, and the lawyers and pastors do work together, I want to say this to the judges and the people. You elect judges that have a respect for the pastors, because that's your community and that'll make a difference. First off, it gets into interpretation. Did they inappropriately pull that gun. I go back to this question: what would a reasonable person do under those circumstances? If they were coming at me in my home, I would pull the gun. No doubt about it. And again, likewise, when someone says, okay, you stay away from my friend, and you shoot the gun 6 times, first off, your lips will get you in trouble, loose lips. So when the police say, well, did you shoot? As soon as you start making those statements, you convicted yourself. And so you don't have to make those statements. And really, one of those statements, it's against the law to discharge a firearm in the city limits. So if you said, yeah, I pulled my gun, they came at me, I shot in the air, well, you just made a full case. And many times they have that recorder, it's sound activated. So as soon as you start talking, they've got the evidence, and you convicted yourself. They say 99% of the people in the penitentiary today are there because they talked. So you've heard me say so many times, loose lips sink ships. And they can ask and ask, but we're not required to say. And if you got to a lawyer, first thing the lawyer, Kevin Kennedy, is going to say, I'd go to the police and say, well, I understand y'all are trying to talk to him. What's this all about? And then if we can talk to them and talk them through this and get away, that's what we're going to do. And if we can't, then we'd say our client chooses not to make any statement.
All right. Great advice. We're going right back to the lines right now. The line's extremely busy. Thank you for your patience this evening. Absolutely. Edna is on the line with us. Edna, do you have a question or a comment this evening?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, Edna.
Could you please tell me, why is it that you can only take the school board to court one time?
Well, I think that that's probably a misnomer. I think you could take the school board to court multiple times if there were multiple issues. Now, the school board is their own unit, kind of identity, and if you had a problem with the child, you have a right to go petition the school board and go before them. Now, it could be a policy if there's one particular incident and they say you've got one opportunity to present it to the board and that's it. Now, that sounds more like a school board policy. But no, you can sue the school board multiple times.
Okay, good to know. We do appreciate it. Great call. We are going to take a break. We've got a lot of you in the phone queue with us, so hang on those lines with us. When we come back, we'll answer more questions right here on Open Line.